So watch what happens when I turn on the awareness button as well as the autonomous button. I can take my hands completely off the steering wheel and just watch as my units switch all on their own. That's the power of an autonomous team. For a lot of leaders and founders, the work of managing a team is a lot like driving a car on a long road trip. The moment you stop paying attention to what the vehicle is doing, it can very quickly begin to drift off course. In the same way, a large part of the challenge of leading a team successfully is simply the amount of effort it takes to continuously be paying attention to what the team is doing. And paying attention is exhausting.
Oh, wow. I just had the weirdest dream.
You know you're driving, right?
There is a way to organize a team so that they can run without you needing to be there to drive them, thereby freeing you up to spend more of your attention and effort on those more creative and strategic problems that really do require your attention. Now, if this sounds too good to be true, I'm excited then to prove to you how this works in this video. Today, I'm going to teach you 2 important lessons that will have a huge impact on helping the experience of running your team feel less like this and more like this. Okay, so let's get into it. Whatever it is that you and your team are trying to accomplish, my role of what I'm trying to do here is to create content to help you guys more effectively work together so that you can get it done. That's what I want to try to accomplish for you. So if you would like to see more videos like this one, please hit that like button and leave me a question or comment so that I can respond to those in future videos. Okay, so let's get into it. How do you build a team that can run itself? The kind of team that you don't need to manage anymore. They can continue to carry out the tasks that are required for the vision you're trying to realize, but don't require your constant attention and effort to make sure that it's staying on course. That's kind of the dream, right? To have a team that kind of works like an autonomous vehicle, that you can just tell it where you're going, it figures out and solves the problems all along the way without you having to be there exhaustively driving it. Building an autonomous vehicle is actually very simple. Step 1, take a heavy object. Step 2, place this heavy object on the accelerator of your car. Step 3, enjoy your new autonomous vehicle. Oh yes, but there's a problem, right? Of course, right? We can't just give autonomy to a vehicle that's not ready for autonomy. And this is one of the first important lessons that we need to learn, which is that being given autonomy, this is not the same as being ready for autonomy. These are different things. A system can be given autonomy, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be able to function safely. It's going to be able to make a journey and be able to accomplish what it needs to do without causing more problems. And this is what most leaders instinctively feel kind of suspicious about when they think about giving autonomy to a team. You don't want to give autonomy to a team that's not ready for autonomy. So the name of the game is that before you give autonomy to a team, you want to make sure that you've built that team to be autonomy ready. Well, how do you know when a team is ready for autonomy? There are 4 fundamental attributes that a team should possess, and what your goal should be as a leader is to build systems and processes that will help your team grow in these 4 attributes. They are aim, awareness, commitment, and competency. So today, let's talk in particular a little bit about aim and awareness. In order for a system to be autonomous, it has to possess the ability to share the same aim as you. So if you think about an autonomous vehicle has the ability for you to step into the car and then input a destination. To say, I want to go to this grocery store. And it's smart enough and has the capacity and ability to be able to understand what that means, right? And hold sort of in its mind the vision of the destination that you're trying to go to. Not all cars possess that ability, right? But an autonomous vehicle does. So it's the same with a team. There's a great story that sort of visualizes what it means to share the same aim as another person. As the story goes, there were 2 workers that were laying bricks. And a man came and asked these two different workers, "What are you doing?" And the first worker responded and said, "Well, I'm laying bricks." And the second worker responded by saying, "I'm building a cathedral." Both of these workers were, yes, laying bricks, but their vision of what they were trying to realize were very different. And this points to something very important that we should be doing with our teams as well. Oftentimes, when we onboard somebody into a team, the whole reason that we're bringing somebody onto our team is because we have tasks that need to be accomplished. And so we'll come to them and say, essentially, "Hey, maybe I am trying to build a cathedral, but I need bricks to be laid. So I'm gonna come out and find somebody who will agree to lay bricks for me." So their founding experience of what brings them into the team is an agreement to lay bricks. It's their founding experience. But instead, we should start every time with the people that we bring onto our team to establish with them the vision of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. As I look into the future and imagine the kind of future that I'm trying to realize, I should articulate that vision with the people who I'm bringing onto my team. That's the kind of conversation we should have with people, a discussion about what is the vision we're trying to realize, and do you share that same vision? This is instinctively what Elon Musk does with his companies, and is also why consistently all the top engineering talent graduating out of school are consistently choosing Elon Musk companies as their top choices of where they want to go to work. The reason why is because this is essentially what Elon Musk does. He has these public events that he puts together, like Battery Day or AI Day or Autonomy Day. And in these events, essentially all he does is articulate, here's what I think the future can look like. This is the future that we want to realize. So he just paints the picture, right, of what they're trying to accomplish. And then he says,
Let's make this real.
So that's your first lesson. The first step in building a team that can run itself is that it has a shared aim. Once you have a group of people together that share the same aim as you do, they're ready to go to work and start solving problems. All they need to do is know what those problems are. And this is where the idea of awareness comes into play, because you can't solve a problem without knowing what that problem is in the first place. So the challenge turns into, how do I build systems into my team that bubble up information, that broadcast information, so that these people who share the same aim as I do can see the problems out there that they can solve that will help lead to realizing that vision that we're striving for. Building awareness plays a huge role in helping a team to be autonomous. To really drive home exactly how this works, take a look at this simulation of awareness in action. Okay, so here's how this little simulation works. In the simulation, I'm gonna have a little team of circles, and the circles have different modes. When they're in the green mode, they have the ability to shoot these little bullets and they can shoot down red squares, right? Now they can also switch and change from green mode to blue circle mode. And when they're in blue circle mode, they can go around and they can dissolve the leftover kind of husks that are left over from the red squares. So now I'm gonna have a whole team's worth, right? I've got 8 of these little circles here. I can switch them into different modes, right? They'll drop down here, they're ready to do their tasks. So essentially what we're simulating here is the challenge or the problem that a project manager might have, or any company, where you need to figure out what people should be doing what kinds of jobs, and how do I optimize my team to be most effective so that the people who are the best at one kind of job are doing that when it matters, and the people who are the best at a different kind of job are doing that job when it matters, right? And I'm gonna play the role of trying to manage what person should be doing what kind of work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna have some circles or some squares kind of start showing up here. And you'll see here on the side, these little charts that kind of show how many people are staffed for the green work. So here I've got a little green circle. I've got a lot of people who are in green mode right now. And the red squares, there's not a very big load, right? Because there aren't very many squares over here. If I click around and add some more red squares here, you'll see the red square load grows, but I'm way overstaffed for the amount of work that I need to be doing to cover this kind of red load. And as you can see, our blue people are understaffed, right? They have a huge load and we need more people down here working with that. So, okay, so let's get some of these guys down here to help out. And I'm gonna try to add, and we probably need to bring everybody down here. Okay, so we've got a lot of people down here. Now we're a little bit more balanced. Okay, so I've got enough blue people to be taking care of that. Oh, but actually it's kind of low, so maybe I should switch some of these people back. Okay, so let's get a couple more people up there. Okay, so I'm trying to balance these two things back and forth, right? Trying to meet this kind of the load of the work that's coming through. Okay, we probably don't need quite as many people up here. Let's get some of them down there to take care of that. Okay, so you can kind of imagine what it's like to be sort of a manager of a team like this, right? You're going to be trying to pay attention to different waves. If there's a huge wave of work that comes in, okay, whoa, we're way understaffed up here. Let's get some more blue people up there, or some green people. They can maybe help take care of some of that stuff. All right, and actually I think I need a little bit more down at the bottom now again. Okay, so you get the kind of the idea of what it's like to try to manage figuring out what people should be doing what jobs. Okay, all of that burden is on me as the leader. I'm trying to do this and trying to balance what my team needs to be as efficient as possible. It's a problem, and the solution is crunched when I do the work and the effort to find the solution, right, for where people need to be. And that's constantly evolving and changing. Now, there are some things that I can do as a manager to try to make that a little bit easier for myself, right? One thing I could do is, well, I could try to figure out information on who's good at what, right? So if you look closely here, you'll see each of these little characters now have little symbols on them. So this character is, when he's operating in green mode, he's a level 10. He's very accurate and very powerful and can shoot red boxes really quickly. And when he's blue, he's a level 1. So this guy for sure should probably be doing, green work, right? Because he's really good at it. And so you can kind of see these stats of people that I can use to try to figure out maybe who would be better in what role. So this guy looks like he should be in blue mode because he's really good at that. And this guy should probably be green. And he's green, so okay, so I can start to figure out, I can get information to make my job as a manager easier. And that's a methodology that a lot of people use is, well, I'm trying to solve these problems. Give me more information and give me more tools so that I can solve these problems better myself. But I'm still the one who's doing the work to figure out what people need to be doing. Now, if you look closely, you'll see there's some nuance here with our characters, right? And that's that we have some characters that have these little stars next to them. And what the star means is their preference. So this character in particular is a level 10 green. He's very good at doing the green role. But he's most interested in doing the blue work. So if he had the choice, he would actually rather be doing the blue work here. And you can see some of this when we turn on comments for some of these people here. If I tell him to go and do the green job now, ugh, right? He doesn't like doing the green work, right? But if I tell him to go do the blue work, it's like, yeah, no problem. I like doing that stuff, okay? As a manager, I've got sort of this interpersonal challenge that I'm trying to deal with too. That some people like to do certain kinds of work and some people like to do other kinds of work, and those aren't necessarily always the same thing, right? Sometimes people want to do work that they're not very good at yet and they're still trying to learn more about, right? And they don't want to do the stuff that they're very good at. This does happen. And so as a manager, right, I've got work coming in. I'm trying to figure out, okay, maybe, all right, we're getting kind of swamped, so sorry, but you're going to have to do that even though you don't want to, and I'm going to try to send more people up there. And this is what the day-to-day life of a manager is kind of like. You're trying to balance and optimize who should be doing what kind of work. Okay, well, that's all well and good. Most people work this way. Now we're talking about autonomous teams. So you notice I have this button over here that has manual mode, and I can switch my characters into autonomous mode. Now when I click this button, what'll happen is I won't be able to pick anymore where people can go. They're going to just choose their preference. So watch as I click this button and switch to autonomous mode. Now they are all doing what they want to be doing, right? And if work comes in, right, and there's a big load, I can't click on them. I can't click on these characters to have them switch because they're autonomous. And this is kind of the nightmare scenario that leaders imagine when they think about having an autonomous team. It's like, look at all these guys up here wasting time. They're not doing anything, and I can't tell them to go do something because they're autonomous, right? And so I understand why people would say, I don't think I want to give autonomy to my team, because how do I control my team if they're being autonomous? Well, this is where awareness becomes so important, because awareness is what helps your team understand the context of what they're going through, right? Awareness coupled with autonomy is where things start to get really cool. So I have this other button over here that says awareness. Now what happens when I click awareness is these little charts, the information from these little graphs about balance and the current load is broadcasted. And what happens is all my individual units on my team then get access to that information, and they can run their own calculation to figure out, how good am I at the job that has the biggest need right now? And they will calculate for themselves sort of the opportunity cost of, if I switch to going to do that job right now, is that going to make a difference or not? And they can understand where they are needed. So watch what happens when I turn on the awareness button as well as the autonomous button. And we'll add a little load here. Now I can just sit back and watch, right? I can take my hands completely off the steering wheel and just watch as my units switch all on their own. And they can do this much faster than I would be able to do, right? They make the choice individually when they see and understand the need, right? And this is possible when you broadcast awareness. So we'll just kind of sit back and, watch this for a little bit. I'm going to kind of work on making sure these guys have lots of work in their funnel here to be working on. And you can just kind of see as the load changes and balances, they switch automatically and they do it on their own, right? This is where you start to see why aim and awareness are so important to be coupled together. If you have a group of people who share the same aim as you, and then you build systems to help them be aware of the need, aware of the problems that there are to solve, then this is what happens. You're able to have a team where each individual is able to understand the need and make choices to help realize that vision on the fly, in the moment, as things are needed. That's the power of an autonomous team. So take a moment today to think about the things that you can do in your team to help your team become more aligned on a shared vision for the future. Are you all striving to realize the same version of the future? Do you have a shared vision of what it is you're trying to accomplish? What are some things that you can do to become more aligned and to have more people understand and share that vision together? As you grow in your aim and alignment together, then consider, what are some things that you could do to build systems of awareness that broadcast information, that make it easier for members of your team to understand what are the important problems that need to be solved right now, and make it easier for people to be able to self-select. As you do that, you'll see opportunities in which your team will start to solve that problem of managing itself, and will start to relieve you from having to do the work of managing it so intensely. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. It's just the start of the things that you can start to think about as you grow into a more autonomous team culture. And if you'd like to learn more about building an autonomous team, that's what I do here at the El Gadeo Way. I create resources to help teams grow into higher levels of autonomy. So I have a free, more in-depth training you can check out if you look at the link in the description below, or just subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more videos that can help you grow into higher levels of autonomy with your team. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Leave a question or comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.